This is a famous forest, the headwaters of Salmon Creek and the Elk River in far northwestern California. After years of struggle against destructive commercial logging practices, the public gained control of the 7,500-acre Headwaters Forest in 1999. Its remaining 3,500 acres of old-growth redwoods were saved from the saw, and ravaged rivers and streams have been treated with healing hands.
Well, the ultimate goal is to remove 100% of the fill and put it completely back to natural so there can be no more erosion. So if you remove all that fill, you should get down to 0% erosion. That's the main goal. That's the bottom line right there. We're pretty efficient. I got a really good crew. We get out here in the morning and we're just automatic. We're just boom, boom. We just go all day long.
Gordy Stevens and his crack crew work 11-hour days during short summer seasons to remove vast amounts of dirt, debris, and unstable landfill from old logging roads in Headwaters. All this washes away in fierce winter rains, clogging the Elk River and Salmon Creek with huge amounts of sediment that threaten the sure survival of vulnerable coho and Chinook salmon and steelhead trout, and the water quality of all the people who live downstream of Headwaters. Gordy's job is to remove this damaging sediment, decommission the old roads, return the landscape to its natural shape, stabilize the soil, stop erosion in the watershed, and set the area on a path to old-growth forest conditions.
Well, it feels good because I started out, I was a logger, and I built roads. So I know what took place when I built these roads 25 years ago. I think that gives me a little advantage on removing them. And it's very rewarding when I get it all contoured back to natural and walk away from it. And it's really rewarding.
Gordy and his team remove about 1,200 cubic yards of dirt every day they work and put it in secure locations where it can be stabilized and not cause further erosion. Metallic waste they dig up is recycled. Native vegetation soon begins to reclaim the old roadways. Young redwoods, some planted by the restoration team, start to grow. In a year, an old road can look like this, and over 9 years, like this, as nature takes charge and the handiwork of people gradually disappears into a newly thriving forest. Since work began here in the early 2000s, crews have treated 37 of the 57 miles of roads that once carved through these steep hillsides and removed nearly 1 million cubic yards of sediment from the headwaters. That's roughly 50,000 dump loads, just like this one. But there's work yet to do, and it's a race against time and the elements.
Every year it's a ticking time bomb. When is it actually going to create a landslide and get into our river system? So the longer you wait to keep doing this work, the more potential sediment we're losing into our river system.
Those who manage the restoration process and the Headwaters Forest itself know that a few big storms any winter can still bury the watershed in silt, harming the fish and all who depend on clear and clean water.
We've really developed a lot of collective knowledge that I think we have a system down that is extremely effective. It's kind of, for us, we think of it as kind of like the gold standard. If we were to lose momentum here, it's quite possible that we would lose some of that collective knowledge that we've developed over the years.
That critical momentum here was almost lost in the summer of 2014. With reduced funding from the federal government, this vital restoration work nearly ground to a halt, threatening the watershed and the livelihoods of people such as Gordy Stevens and his employees.
It's not going to take much to drive a small operator like Gordy out of business. If he has 1 year where he can't, basically work the short season that he's got, it might be enough to send him, into bankruptcy. And if we lose people like that with all that expertise, it's going to make a big difference if we still want to continue the work.
Fortunately, Save the Redwoods League does want this work to continue as part of its nearly century-old commitment to preserving and restoring redwood ecosystems and making them accessible to all of us. Save the Redwoods League provided the emergency funds required to keep the Headwaters restoration process on track for another year. Crucial momentum and jobs were sustained in a famous forest on the mend.
It's really a globally significant resource, and to have an organization dedicated to protecting that and following through on that dedication is really an amazing thing for us.
To find out more about restoration in the Headwaters Forest and the work of Save the Redwoods League and all its partners there, please visit our website at savetheredwoods.org.